7 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order. If we could please stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome to the July 14th, 2025 business meeting of the Milford Board of Education. Can we have a roll call, please, Ms. Flame?
Yes. Megan Doyle. Here. Scott Verminder.
Present.
Tracy Irby.
Here.
Tom Goba.
Here.
Lauren Mahler.
She's excused.
Christina Preet. Here. Adam Scobie.
Excused.
Okay. Mike Smith.
Here.
Cindy Wolf-Boyton.
Excused.
Okay. And Susan Glennon.
I'm present, thank you.
All right. We have 7 members present.
Thank you. All right, we have public comment is next on the agenda. I'll just read the public comment statement. Speakers may offer objective comments about school operations and programs. The board encourages speakers to not express personal complaints or defamatory comments about the Milford Board of Education personnel or any person associated with the Milford Public School System. Security issues and matters relating to negotiations and grievances will not be permitted. Consistent with the principles of the Federal Education Right to Privacy Act, discussion of students is prohibited absent parental waiver. Public comment does not allow for two-way conversation between speakers and the board. We welcome and appreciate your comments and opinions, and all will be taken into consideration. Please note our meetings are televised and live streamed on YouTube. We ask that you state your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. So if anybody in the audience would like to address the board tonight, we have a podium here if you're comfortable, or you can stand in your place.
I'll just stand here. Dina Rose White, 35 Wendy Road, Milford, obviously. I first want to say thank you, Dr. Pataya, for meeting with Michael. I really appreciate that you took the time and that you're taking the time to look at admissions to Sound School. And for everyone who met with Ms. Latanzi, thank you. For those of you who read the emails, thank you. For those of you who are doing the research, thank you. I'm here just to say I think it would be a disservice to our community and our kids to get rid of one school for another, especially since you're talking about Trumbull. It's a totally different program. And then you'll have 2 Aqua, and I think once again they're both great, but they're both different. And I just want to urge you, so many other towns have multiple schools. There is no reason, and I understand the transportation, all the ASTE schools cost the same. And since there is no limit to Bridgeport or to Trumbull, it makes sense that another student could go to another school. I hear you with the transportation. I feel like maybe we could think outside the box. If Michael can go, I will drop your kids off at my house, I will take them. I have offered to bring Michael. It is not a problem. I'm asking you to really consider why we cannot let this happen. Because for me, especially as a mother, obviously, I don't see a reason. I really, truly don't. So I am just asking you all to please really think about it. Think about the kids who are showing interest. Isn't that what we want for our kids? They're showing interest. They have a passion. They want to do this. And it stinks. And it's sad. And it's really, I don't know, it's just awful to say, sorry kid, too bad for you. While other kids have opportunities, maybe to do other things. Like, it's just, we should be across the board supporting our children. And this, financially, I'm sure we're gonna hear more tonight, but they all cost the same. They all cost the same. There is no reason not to send one student to one school and not another. And I just hope that you keep that open. That's it.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to address the board?
Hi, Erin Vincent, 27 Cedar Hill Road. I do understand that there are already 2 VOAG programs that are actually in contract with Milford Public Schools. I believe that by bylaws, you really only need 1, and most schools only have 1. So the fact that we have more than 1, I think, speaks to how much we support our students here in Milford. I do understand that there are some students that have asked about Sound School recently. We do already have a similar program. I understand that they're kind of different, but I just think that creating another contract, like a 3rd contract, isn't something to be done lightly. I think we need to look at the existing contracts and make kind of a more agreed upon decision moving forward if you are gonna keep multiple contracts. Additionally, I think as part of like the long-term planning for Milford, we need to start investing less money in students going elsewhere and more money in our career development here. So I think that's actually, you know, something that this board has kind of been committed to, is the career development aspect of Milford Public Schools going forward. So I'm hoping that if this is such a sought-after thing, I mean, we're right on the shore. We have access to institutions that would want to help develop some sort of a marine science program right here in Milford with our Milford Public Schools. So I'm just thinking that, you know, maybe we can start to talk about other options versus just creating all these additional contracts that are then incredibly hard to get out of after that's the case, and the fact that we have to then open them up to all the students. So we're paying for students to go to other districts when really we want to be keeping our students here. So I hope that you guys will consider kind of the future of Milford in that sense as well, keeping Milford students in Milford.
Thank you. Anybody else like to address the board this evening? All right, thank you so much. We'll close public comment. Chair's report, I just want to remind everybody that our next regular business meeting is not until August 25th, Monday, August 25th. We have a little summer break for the board, but we will undoubtedly have at least one special meeting in executive session to review the long-range facility planning RFPs that we're expecting to come in. So I'm waiting for board members to give me their availability for the month of August. You know, let me know when you're going to be away so that we can try to plan something when most of the board members are here. Are there any liaison reports tonight? Okay, seeing none, I will turn the meeting over to Dr. Butaya for the instructional highlight. Just a note, the superintendent year in review is like an annual CEO report for the board. It's something that is within our governance, so we do this every year.
Thank you, Ms. Glennon, and members of the Board of Education. That is correct. This is a sort of a high-level highlight of all the good things that occurred during our school year in 24-25. And also want to say that this kind of strings together all of our instructional highlights throughout the year. So I would just add that to your statement, Ms. Glennon, that the instructional highlights along with this year in review functions as our report to the board, if you will. So the presentation's coming through. One more? Send one down for Lewis.
Oh, we had
Thank you.
One more coming this way.
All right, thank you.
A lot of ado over the handouts tonight. So I just want to, with great enthusiasm, say that it has been a fantastic school year for our young people, our staff. I'll go out and on a limb and say even our community. We've experienced so many accomplishments, and in a way, it's a return on investment of what this board and our community has supported through a budget. It also celebrates the great work of our teachers and students. So in the 24-25 school year, we kicked things off on Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. And you'll note that the start of next year is the same date, actually, August 28, 2025, but we are moving the school year over by one day and Thursday. So we started off on August 28th last year and kicked things off with opening up our facilities. I'll remind you in the community of the scope of work. We are responsible for 1.1 million square feet of building space, 179 acres of grounds, and around 490 classrooms, give and take a few depending on the number of sections that we have every year. So I just want to remind you that we have an incredible large scope of responsibility when it comes to physical aspects of supporting our young people and teachers. So if you'll recall, we opened up Pumpkin Delight as renovated. Beautiful pictures here. Couldn't capture all the beauty of Pumpkin, We did renovate, add a media center, add a gymnasium, there's new seating, there's flooring, new flooring across the district. In some places, we resurfaced tennis courts at the high school, so a lot of great upgrades that support the programming. So it's not just making things look pretty. Our facility and grounds upkeep is about programming and the opportunities our young people have access to. This is an abbreviated list of some of the projects completed in the summer of 2024. You had an extensive presentation by Mr. Bradbury earlier in the year to give you the full list of what was accomplished throughout our system. We kick every year off with an enthusiastic, lively, energetic convocation, and in 2024 that was no different. Board members and city dignitaries are invited to convocation every year. Our board chair, our mayor, our teacher of the year, myself, our union president, Ms. Kapazna, all address the staff. We welcome new staff members, we celebrate their accomplishments, and we even recognize those staff members that have had special celebrations. Uh-oh, Louis, look what I did. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And he didn't even give me a mad face. Sorry about that. Even celebrate some anniversaries such as 10, 20, 30 years of service. Thank you, Louis. I won't touch that button again. This year we are able to onboard 37 new teachers, and we do so through a 3-day new teacher academy. And that academy, one, prioritizes establishing relationships and opening the welcome doors to our teachers. We know that research bears out that one way to attract and retain teachers is to ensure that they feel like they belong in a place, in an organization, in a community. And we kick that sense of belonging off at New Teacher Academy, where we're really intentional about ensuring that they know the core mission of our district by sharing goals and commitments, the vision of the learner, the model for high quality instruction, our relationships framework, our equity framework. And they're also assigned a buddy and or a mentor for the school year. And they are also invited to partake in that MTA, the New Teacher Academy. First day of school, as is customary here in Milford, I toured the buildings with our mayor, had the pleasure of doing that. So celebrating the first day of school by greeting teachers, welcoming students, and even in some cases, we may have played a little bit with our young people, as you see here in this picture. Again, just reminding you the scope of our work. Organizationally, we have 3,694 students that travel, are transported daily to and from our schools. That includes 63 buses and vans, 107 bus stops, bus runs, and 976 bus stops. Again, this is just a brief overview of that. You received the transportation report earlier in the year that gives you greater detail on transportation. In the area of feeding our children, this school year we served 571,584 meals. I just want to take a moment to give kudos to our food service department because they are regularly looking for new items to test with our young people and looking for locally sourced products when possible. And when Ms. Faustich was here more recently, she shared with you some of the partnerships we were able to establish, and some of that information has been shared with the board in my regular communication with you. One thing that I love that Pumpkin Delight is allowing us to do because of the expanded kitchen is actually to do a little bit more cooking and working with our children in the area of food preparation and nutrition. And here is an example of a corn shucking relay race. I know we've done this before, but we did extend it this year in engaging our children on testing out what we can do with corn and showing them some culinary skills as demonstrated in the kitchen. So our food service department actually hopes to expand some of this work around bringing in more locally sourced products, but also working with our children around nutrition and food prep. I continue to say things like our locally sourced products, but really it is about working with our partners. Not only are we working with farms and farmers, but we're working with many, many partners. This is not a comprehensive list of the individuals and organizations we work with to get the job done, but certainly some of our primary partners are represented here. Just want to give you an example of some of the how some of our partnerships turn into programming and some enriched and enhanced experiences for our young people. So we work with the Greater Bridgeport Symphony, and this year we brought them in across the district for grades 7 through 12 so that they could experience a string quartet. And not only did they experience that as a musical entertainment event, but also interacting with the members of the quartet, of the symphony, and asking questions about life as a musician and how did you get to where you are, and considering it as a career path. You know, we every November we get questions about Veterans Day, and while it may be surprising to some in our community that we are in school on Veterans Day, I wish that they could experience just a little bit of time in our schools on Veterans Day. And you'll see some of that depicted in this picture, these pictures, that our veterans are invited into our schools. What I love especially about this day is that our young people engage and interact face to face with veterans. I have to believe that if it was a day off, I know this is a sweeping remark and may not hold true for every family, but it would probably be a sleep-in day, or a video game day, or some other kind of day. Most certainly would be missing the opportunity to learn more about how so many have fought and continue to fight for our great country and our freedom. These are examples of presentations made by veterans, presentations made about veterans, breakfasts, opportunities to hear and talk to veterans. And these are our young people, our youngest all the way to our oldest. So I know I'm going on and on about this, but I just want to continue to underscore how important it is that we celebrate our veterans, but also teach our young people about the importance of honoring them. Literacy has been a great focus this year. We gave you very recently a literacy update through the elementary highlight in June, but we also celebrate it because we know reading is fun, and we know that reading is functional and part of life. But on Read Across America Day, we invite community members into our classrooms. As you see the mayor and our very own Mr. Altieri there reading to our young people. One thing our Department of Talent Management and Development engaged in is a volunteer partnership with Smith College in Massachusetts. And we agreed to mentor future teachers. Now we know that right now it is incredibly critical to support the pipeline of teachers because it is actually quite shallow, the pool of teacher individuals who are interested in going into education. So we heard of this opportunity with Smith College, and a couple times they came down to Milford and they visited our students. So it was actually a win-win. So students at Smith College who are interested in becoming teachers came and spoke to our kids and were part of observations and classroom experiences, particularly in those rooms where kids may also be interested, high school students be interested in becoming teachers. So it was almost like a shoring up of both pipelines at a very young age in high school and an older age, post-graduation at the college level. And we hope to continue that relationship with Smith College in the future. I like to say that we're bouncing back from COVID when it comes to attendance at Parent University, and this was one of the best attended experiences this year, and that was our Little Spots experience for preschool and kindergarten families. You see our very own Ms. Acampora dressed up as the squiggly spot, is that right? Scribble, the scribbly spot. You may be asking, what is a spot? Well, it is a color category type of spot where we teach children about feelings. and regulating their feelings. And there's a different color spot for representing different type of feelings. Like you can imagine red is, I'm getting angry, and our young people being taught those regulatory skills and practices on what happens when you're feeling like a red spot, what happens when you're feeling like a scribble spot. Well, we brought parents in on this, and the power of that is to align language at home and what our children are hearing in the classroom. So that partnership between home and classroom, helping support our kids. You've heard me speak that mental health issues in our classrooms among our young people are on the rise. Well, we believe starting way down at a younger age with the Little Spots program actually is an investment in helping our students cope and develop those skills that they're really struggling with now. Week of the Young Child has been a celebration for us the last couple of years. And we, again, choose to engage our families in celebrating how important early childhood education is. And we intentionally select a week in April, May, and celebrate how important early childhood foundational skills are and help our parents focus on those at home as well with us. We also engage in partnership with UConn, the Circle of Security Workshop. It's a parenting workshop that helps to support and strengthen those parent and child relationships that are so critical to the foundation of the wellness of a child. In the area of Board of Education, we enjoyed welcoming Mr. Scobie in February as a new member of the board. While we have in the past enjoyed revising and approving more policies than 9 was our accomplishment this year, but we all said at the beginning of this year that we knew that we would be focusing on our long-range facilities plan, and so more meetings were dedicated to that. There is still more policy work to be done, so hang on tight, it's coming soon. In the area of academics and performance, Mr. Autieri and his team led the work with our teachers on the curriculum revision, review, implementation cycle. I will not be reading the next 2 slides to you. This is a summary of the work that's been accomplished throughout the system categorically in the areas of STEM, and you'll see work all the way from K to 12, humanities, again, K to 12, with the largest and heaviest lift, I believe, would be in that K-5 literacy curriculum map updates to help support the implementation in the program. And then you'll see on the next slide some work that was also done in the visual performing arts and the wellness and school counseling departments. Every year, and as this board knows, that we have an open access policy on AP courses. So if a child has an interest, we say take it. We don't create hurdles and prerequisites necessarily based on grading. So we are grateful that of all the students that did try on an AP course, 174 students were named AP Scholars. That's an increase from last year. And you'll see the breakdown there of AP Scholars with honors, and AP Scholars with distinction. And drum roll please, for the 5th year in a row, the community of Milford was named one of the best communities for music education by the NAM Corporation, Foundation, pardon me. So we're so very proud of Ms. Paris, our music educators, you, the board, and our city that supports the importance of music education. And even during most difficult budget years, this is a community that supports putting that first. Oh, sorry, I'm behind on my clicking. Pardon me. When it comes to Model UN, we have a lot to be proud of. Not only do we engage in Model UN conferences off campus, such as down in Manhattan or in New Haven, we also choose to sponsor our own Model UN conference. And I'll tell you, if you ever have a chance to attend one of these conferences, you would be so incredibly impressed. You'd think you are walking into a high-level executive environment where there are individuals making really critical decisions in the benefit and welfare of individuals and countries. So our young people really engage at high levels with great commitment, and we're grateful to the staff that leads the Model UN effort. We rolled out American Sign Language in our middle schools with your support this year. It's been a huge hit. The most difficult part is finding certified teachers. So the teacher we had did leave for personal reasons that we won't get into, but we were able to secure another teacher, and we're hoping to continue to, did we find a second teacher?
In Lux for one.
Okay. So this is an incredibly difficult area to hire because there are not many teachers that are certified in ASL. So. In the area of academics and performance, we like to get creative. And this year we made some steps toward blending our technology efforts and music, teaching our students how to actually create, write, compose their own music using some digital means and marrying it with musical instruments at a very young age. You'll notice that these lessons are occurring at the elementary school. So using our Chromebooks, using ukuleles and recorders. We still have recorders, although we are making shift to using more ukuleles. I know you are all smiling probably inside because you remember yourself using a recorder. Is that why, Mr. Smith, you were smiling?
It's one of the reasons.
We're trying to expand the use of some of those basic instruments and introducing the ukulele, some strings experiences at a young age. So grateful that every year we get opportunity to participate at the Harvard Science Olympiad competition. Love that our kids are so invested in having fun with science. And out of 42 teams, we had 2 teams present representing Milford, and we ranked 11th and 16th overall, with a lot of too many to go into first and second and third place winners on individual competition areas. But overall as teams, we ranked really well. And so proud of our young people and our staff members that take the time to take our children to Harvard to do that. So virtual reality is expanding its presence in our schools. We decided to ensure that there were VR sets in all of our elementary schools this year, and are even getting to the point where we are recording our own VR experiences. We had a teacher travel in a special program overseas to learn a little bit more about, not funded by Milford, funded by a grant, to learn more about how to create virtual reality videos, and brought the knowledge back to the district. And you see here an elementary science teacher working with an elementary student on a VR set. So we're expanding the use of that throughout our schools. And in our inaugural season, we did actually rather well in the esports arena. In our first competitive season, Law's esports team placed 4th in the state championship this year. So really proud of our young people. And it didn't stop there. Our foreign wrestling team took home the state championship. Our foreign softball team won the state championship. And we have so much to be proud of our athletes. And this next slide, while it is not state championship, I know that Harborside would be so proud to say that yet again they won the James Wynn Middle School track meet. I think this is 8th or 9th year in a row of winning. There is a little bit of competition amongst the middle schools on this, and a little bit of hard feelings that Harborside keeps winning. Just want you to know, it might be a sensitive topic, bring it up with any East Shore, West Shore student. We also are very invested in providing unified sports experiences for students with special needs, and this is a sports experience that also includes buddies and mentors. We hosted the Unified Basketball Tournament, but our students do travel to other towns to experience other tournaments as well. Just giving you a highlight of some other things we put in place this year. The sports supported the new CIAC regulation where we put summer athletic program opportunities available for our children to be able to prepare for seasonal competition throughout the year. We also developed a new course offering at the middle school under the Tech Ed pre-engineering manufacturing course. We rolled out literacy, and we brought in a visiting artist to work with our preschoolers this year, just to give them extended experiences and being creative. We shared with our community earlier this year that our very own Kelly Jones, former Teacher of the Year, was named Conductor of the Year by the Connecticut American Choral Directors Association. So very proud of Ms. Jones and everything she accomplishes with our young people. Our very own Orchard Hills Principal Sarah Cianti was named the Connecticut PTA 2025 Outstanding Elementary School Principal of the Year. And we are able to celebrate all of our teachers with the help, of course, of our PTA, PTOs during Teacher Appreciation Week. And you'll see some examples of how they were celebrated. I will have to say, kudos to our PTA, PTO. They get so creative and really put them all their heart into celebrating our teachers. So a special thank you from MPS to our PTO, PTAs. This is actually the name of the grant that some of our teachers apply for every year, Fund for Teachers grant. We have 3 more teachers this summer traveling overseas to learn about something that they're passionate about. But they apply, they establish a purpose for their reasons to travel, and then they get together with other educators from across the world and go to a designated place, and we have 3 winners here. That will be traveling overseas and bringing back knowledge and information for us to expand here in Milford. Under celebrations, we were able to celebrate at the end of the year reception, the Para Educator of the Year, Megan Cole, Teacher of the Year, Lauren Alberti, and our Parents of the Year, Melissa and Kevin Lawless. And of course, we celebrated our middle schoolers at the Stepping Up ceremonies. We were able to congratulate 20 graduates from the Academy at a commencement held here at the Parsons Auditorium. We enjoyed celebrating with 206 graduates at law and 179 graduates at Horn. And as I mentioned earlier, we are looking forward to more great things happening in the next school year, starting on August 28th, 2025. Happy to take any questions that the board may have at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Chaya. Questions from the board? I wanted to get a sense, 2 things. So the American Sign Language proved to be highly popular, correct?
Very popular, yeah.
Very popular. And was there one section in each middle school, or?
We had 2 sections at Harborside and 1 section at East Shore and West Shore last year.
And the virtual reality experience, is that just, I'm clueless about what that is.
Oh, we'll have to
Science?
do it, we'll have to bring it in for you.
Is that just science, is it science?
No,
Okay.
it's social
I
studies.
don't know, is anybody else as clueless as me?
Yes, I can do that stuff.
Mr. Giancola, let's put it on the list.
I did see when I visited one of the schools once for I think it was a science night at Meadowside, and some of the kids were wearing it, but I don't know anything about it. So I just want to say that, clearly we had a good year this past year, and despite our budget challenges, we continue to provide incredible opportunities for our 5,100 kids. So I appreciate all that staff does, and I'm looking forward too to what comes for this coming year. So I think probably board members feel the same. Preet?
I just have a comment too. When you mentioned the Model UN conference, I'm sure you probably put it in your weekly update to invite us to come, and I know you do as often as you can. Can you make those like bold red so they really stand out? Because I love to engage with the kids. I miss it from when our kids were in the schools and being a part of it, and just to kind of see it come full circle. So, I want to go to the next one, the Model UN piece.
I will be happy to open up the doors wherever we can. I don't know what the rules are on Model UN. I don't know if it allows outside people, but if there is an opportunity for you to see our great work,
I would love that, thank you.
yes, thank you.
Any
Thank
other,
you for your interest, Ms. Preet.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, so the Fun with Food stuff on the shucking of corn relay races and other stuff. Was it just CAF Penn, or so was it just Pumpkin Delight students that got to participate in a
Pumpkin,
program like that?
Mhm.
Okay. Is that's just based on the capacity of the cafeteria?
Yeah, yeah. So, I think more to come on that as you consider facilities, but we've been having some additional conversations more recently. So I know we've been talking about facilities a long time, so, and asking ourselves, why aren't we talking more about expansion of kitchens and the ability to do more from scratch cooking? And I don't know where that possibly could go, but I think what we learned this year with the expanded space at Pumpkin, wow, there's opportunity, I don't know that we knew there was. So while this may be coming 10 months late, I think what we've been able to experience at Pumpkin is teaching us a few things.
Right.
With having that expanded space and say, hey, can we do this? Or what would it take to do this, right? So that's a longer conversation, and it's not just a facility issue, but it's also a staffing issue. Like if you're gonna do more from scratch cooking, that requires more people, but when you're taking a look, you've been on some of our tours, what's coming to mind is the tiny little space at CAF Penn. I don't know how 3 people moved back there, right? So imagine running a shucking competition with all of 4th and 5th grade, and so I think we should keep that on the table for future dialogue.
My recollection was it was more than just shucking the corn. They
Yeah.
then took the corn and
They made a
did
salsa.
stuff with it. So
Yeah.
it was more than, because I think any school can have a corn shucking race within
They can.
in the cap itself, but.
But
it's
that would
what
just be
happens
a fun
after that.
thing.
Yeah, right, correct, yeah.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
okay, we could still just have fun, but there was a lesson nutritionally
Right.
there.
And we did, in our tours, we definitely did look at the kitchens and saw the difference in the spaces and the limitations of them and even what the staff can and can't do because of those limitations, so.
But it's worth adding to that
Yes.
conversation at the elementary where we're saying, all right, we need a separate gym. So we're already talking about that space, so what does the CAF look like? And the kitchen, right? So something to think about.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. More comment, again, is what's really nice to see is the routine investment that we've been making over the years. I mean, we talk about the ALS, that was a conversation we had 2 or 3 years ago, and now we're expanding the additional teacher. All of these changes take so much time to see the results. So I think that's really important to see that, and I mean, I'm laughing at the softball team because this is the same team that went to the World Series, that the city of Milford invests in it, and how does that play out? And how does City of Milford Investments work in that part? I think too, the food is a really interesting aspect because it's such a part of daily life that when we leave, kids should know how to have some part of their life. Sorry, that was confusing. Sorry, not my day.
Well, that actually supports, I'm always looking for a opportunity to plug, so that supports the life skills class we want to start in middle school. So how do you boil water? How do you
Right.
prepare a meal for yourself? I feel like those are some lost skills. So why not start at a younger age?
Right. It is nice to go to Pumpkin's Light and see the beautiful kitchen and how that interacts, and just even having the bigger gym, which could have a different conversation about the size of that gym. But to have the gym, the cafeteria, all of those pieces, and to be able to use it is huge. I think it's also nice to see the increase in the number of students who are doing well on the AP scholars. So even if they're not a typical student who falls within the guidelines, they're able to
Yeah.
be successful in that. I mean, we're talking about 174, 100, and it's basically the entire graduating class of Ford, when you really break it down, is an AP scholar. So, which is quite amazing. So,
For an open access policy, that is really amazing. I'll emphasize that.
Right.
We're not just skimming off the top and letting those who can do. We let anyone who wants to try.
And it's part of the student success planning work that we've been doing to try to make sure that as counselors meet with kids, they're thinking about their career goals, their course interests, and building out opportunities to make sure that they have access to those courses.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, sorry for the second time. Doyle's comment about the ASL stuff reminded me of all the notes I took in all this great presentation. I'd forgotten about it the first time I asked questions. But I know it seems, I'm constantly reminded how long ago it was that I was actually in school. But I know I did have some teachers who have found their second career in teaching. And so with the challenges of recruiting teachers to do ASL, in my day job, there are often many ASL translators in the world. Is that there's still a similar program where if you're an ASL translator professionally, you want to become a teacher, there's kind of a rapid certification you
There's
could-
an accelerated rapid certification, the ARC program.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, thank you on this. We can move on to the next.
All right, I'm turning things over to Ms. Gautieri and Mr. Brennan. We talked to the board in April, I think it's April, talked a long time ago, Mr. Smith, that feels like a long time ago. And started this conversation about agricultural science and technology programs, schools in particular. And the board asked that we come back after we've completed our full analysis. At the time, it was a partial analysis of schools. I can say that we visited all three sites, talked to all three coordinators / administrators, depending on how they identify themselves at each school. And we believe we have information to share with you this evening and a recommendation on how to move forward in the future. So I'm going to kick things over to Mr. Autieri, right?
Thanks, Dr. Kataya. Good evening, Ms. Glennon, members of the board. Mr. Brennan and I this evening will share some updates related to the agri-science programs that Dr. Kataya was mentioning that we visited in the spring of 2025, looking at several key areas that I think have come from your questions and additional information that you wanted us to seek more into. So as we get into this evening, we do want to reference to, and we won't read these, I'll just kind of give you a little summary to it. Mr. Brennan and I will refer back to the legislative language as we go through our presentation this evening. Specifically around the top one there, General Statute 10-64. And really this is the legislative language that requires any Board of Education that doesn't have a agri-science program to approve and designate a school or schools that are approved by the State Board of Ed, that any student who has met the requirements for 8th grade and is looking to go into high school have the opportunity to be able to attend such program. The language on here regarding General Statute 1065 really gets into local boards of ed that do furnish those programs and some of the language around the grants that they're entitled to be able to expand space for programming to occur. We took a look at, and really what we tried to do as we structured the presentation this evening is to give you an overview of the three programs. So Dr. Kataya, Mr. Brennan, and myself had the opportunity, wonderful opportunity, to tour three programs: Bridgeport Regional Aquaculture, Science and Technology Ed Center, the Trumbull Agri-Science and Biotechnology Center, and the Sound School. And what we wanted to try to do is walk you through the process that students and families take when considering attending one of these programs. So recruitment actually starts in the early fall. As early as October, as part of our grade 8 to 9 transition timeline and calendar, we actually host a high school fair, and we allow for these programs to be able to come and do a presentation, share resources with students that would be considering attending one of the programs. And this is closely associated with open houses. So a lot of the three programs that we mentioned to you this evening hold open houses in the month of October. And that is because the application period usually ends for most programs sometime in the month of December. However, there are some programs that will accept applications until all of the designated spots have been filled. And the programs typically all require very similar pieces of information for consideration. First of all, there is a common application that is delivered by the Connecticut State Department of Ed. And overall, there are 9 pathways, agri-science pathways, that are recognized by the state. However, programs don't necessarily have to offer all 9. And we'll see that some offer different ones than others. In that review process, once the applications are turned in, the other information that's submitted is the middle school academic history. So obviously the grades, the classes taken, any attendance records for the student over their middle school years. And then there's also a series of recommendations that the student would submit, those being from a school counselor and a teacher, but it also requests a personal recommendation, and that's at the choice of the student to be able to submit who that recommendation is from. There is also an opportunity for the students to turn in a writing prompt or a writing sample, and the prompt for that writing sample is for them to share their interest in why they want to get into a career in agriculture or an aquaculture related career field. The programs typically will have some type of an interview process, and it could be as quick as a 5 to 10 minute interview, but it's really just an opportunity for students who meet that initial program criteria to meet with program representatives and staff. And the notification is typically sometime, as we mentioned, after the application period closes, and most programs do have a waiting list. If they fill the spots and the demand is there, they will maintain a waiting list for students. As we talk about programming, it was really great to be able to walk through and see all 3 of these program facilities. So we wanted to give you kind of a comparison of and shared structures across the 3 programs, but then also break out and give you a little detail specific to each of the 3 programs. So what we'll start with, if you're looking at that top blue box on the slide, every program has a mix of classroom and laboratory instruction. So it's really designed to be hands-on experiences, and that was something that we saw across all 3 programs. There's also what they call an SAE, or a supervised agricultural experience. And when we talk about the supervised agricultural experience, this is really a student-led, instructor-supervised project, work-based learning experience that is designed to connect a student to a plan or a program of study related to one of the agri-science pathways. So it's designed to get the students more into the experiential learning side of the coursework that they're completing as part of their program of study. Students will also typically participate in what they call a CTO, and that's a career and technical education organization. So things like FFA are some of the CTOs that we saw as we toured the program facilities. So that is pretty consistent across all 3 programs that we had the chance to meet with. When we look at Bridgeport Aquaculture specifically, this differs a little bit from Trumbull-Voag and the Sound School in the fact that it is a partial day program. So our high school students typically attend either law or foreign in the morning up through about period 5, and then in the afternoon they actually go to aquaculture. And so they're taking their core classes during the day at either law or foreign, and then the coursework opportunities specific to aquaculture include everything from, I try to give you examples here, things like marine construction, environmental science. What was really neat was there is several different program spaces at aquaculture, such as research vessels. The kids are able to get on and see some of the actual boats that are used. There's a boat construction laboratory. They have biotechnology and chemistry laboratories. And the way that the curriculum is designed is it begins as an exploratory curriculum where students do kind of half-year courses that are double periods every day, so they spend 90 minutes in those courses, and that equates to the 1 credit of time over the course of the year. Significant amount of ECE, early college experience courses through UConn, from biology to chemistry to environmental science and oceanography. And what was really neat was we had the chance to tour what was called Angie's Fish Market. And this was this really authentic opportunity that students had to be able to grow and harvest tilapia, and I'm always going to butcher this particular name. It is the barramundi, and they actually sell the fish. So they actually go through the process of growth, harvest, marketing, and sales of the fish during the school day. As I mentioned to you, each student enrolled in the program is expected to complete about 300 hours of additional educational experiences, either during the school day or outside of the classroom as part of that supervised agricultural experience. And there are 4 different pathways as part of aquaculture: science, veterinary, aquaculture, and technical, which gets into marine construction and navigation. When we look at the next program, which is the Trumbull Agri-Science Center, this is a full-time program commitment. So the students actually attend Trumbull High School. They can participate in the extracurriculars offered by Trumbull. But we want to note to you that they attend their core courses during the day at the high school. And then there's actually a connected building to the main school where the agri-science program is housed. So they actually come over there with their class. So grade 9 students come over at one point and attend the VOAG courses as part of the school day. And again, similar opportunities, agri-science, biotechnology. They also do have large animal science and equine management, which was pretty neat to see as well. And the students in grade 9 and 10 actually take exploratory courses. So they have a chance to take courses in each of the fields of study: plant and animal science, biotechnology, and agricultural mechanics. And then during their junior and senior year, they actually are placed into a major field of study, and that's where they have access to some opportunities with the UConn early college experience to take some of those higher level courses. Again, the supervised agricultural experience is about 200 hours of time per year starting in the junior year. And spaces, again, as we saw with aquaculture, a lot of neat spaces for students to get into, from tissue culture labs to floral design labs, all the way up to small animal and dog grooming locations within the building. And then lastly is the Sound School. And again, this is a full-time program commitment, so the students do attend as a Sound School student. And unlike what we saw with Trumbull VOAG, where you have the high school building where the core courses are connected to an agri-science wing, all of the courses are kind of offered within one school. So all the programming falls within that one kind of building location. And again, very similar course opportunities from aquaculture science, biotechnology. They have an underwater studies and a plant technology program as well. Similar structure too to what we've seen, where 9th and 10th grade are exploratory courses, and 11th and 12th grade is where students really specialize in a particular pathway. And Sound School has 2 main pathways. They have an agriculture and an aquaculture pathway, and those fuse together the aquaculture science or agriculture science and a technology set of courses as well. So they're getting the actual theory, but then also the technology pieces as well. And that leads to opportunities for students to explore marine trades, aquaculture science, as well as scientific diving, which was another opportunity that they provide. So I'm going to pass the mic down to Mr. Brennan, who's going to take you to the next part of the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Altieri, I appreciate that. So this next slide here outlines Connecticut General Statutes 10-65, Section B. In particular, there's two parts to this that I wanted to highlight quickly. So Part 1 really outlines that such Board of Education shall provide opportunities to enroll in an agricultural science and tech ed center, one or more of them. And that Part 2 is that the tuition rates not exceed 58% of the amount charged for the fiscal year ending in 2024. So this next section here, we followed a similar format to the academic component of this, where we outline the three programs side by side. For this Bridgeport Aquaculture Science Center, you can see that tuition here is based on enrollment, and they have a breakdown of two different options here. If you have 1 to 24 students, it's based on a cost per student, and then after 25 students, it is a fixed subscription fee. The cost per student is $1,978.67 for students if you have between 1 and 24 students, and then this upcoming year, we have 26 total students attending in grades 9 through 12. The Trumbull Agriculture Science Center has a tuition of $3,957.34, and you will see the difference in those two prices there. If you think about the Agriculture Center, as Mr. Altieri was explaining, that is that half-day program, whereas the Trumbull Ag Center and the Sound School are full-day programs. And you can see that those prices correlate by half and double. Enrollment for the Trumbull Ag Center would be 6 per grade for a total of 24 students. And upcoming for this 25-26 school year, we have 14 students attending in grades 9 through 12. The Sound School, regular ed tuition set by the state is $3,957.34. And then we would never make a decision based on a student's special ed status, but it was brought to our attention that the Sound School would need to charge additional money for students with special education, for special education tuition. And then this last part here is the enrollment. So they have 90 spots per grade, and that's really what their capacity is. So a total of 360 students. 45 of those 90 spots in each grade are reserved for New Haven students, and the remaining 45 spots are distributed equitably across 27 other districts which are partnered with them. So that was something that we wanted to outline here in terms of possible enrollment. This next Connecticut General Statutes, Section 10-64, outlines the transportation of this and really just says that Board of Education should pay reasonable and necessary costs of transportation. And this final slide that I will be speaking with you about this evening outlines very similarly to the structure that we've had all night with the three schools side by side, talking about the cost for transportation. Bridgeport Aquaculture for the 25-26 school year will cost $42,506 for one bus. The Trumbull Agriculture Center will cost $82,913 for one bus. And the Sound School, we provided a couple options here. There's been some discussion about a train option, which would be $48 per month per student. And then if a bus was added, it would be very similar to the Trumbull Agriculture Biotech Center for $82,913. The Bridgeport Aquaculture transportation amount is less because of the timing of it. So we're not needing to designate one bus during our both opening and closing of the session. So that's why there's a discrepancy there in the cost for aquaculture versus the other two.
So based on our full analysis, based on the visits that we made to all three schools, and looking forward on how to plan for our students' opportunities, we took a look at two lenses, one primarily programmatically. Are we offering the opportunity programmatically to our students through what we already have, and that is at Aqua and Trumbull, without adding the Sound School? And to what value would adding the Sound School provide? The answer we came up with after a full analysis, objective analysis, is that what Aqua provides our young people does fulfill the programmatic needs and opportunities for students who may be interested in all the programs we talked about tonight. The marine sciences, the biotechnologies. There are a lot of similarities between Sound and Aqua. And we believe it checks that box for young people who are interested in that. Interestingly, it was mentioned earlier this evening that why doesn't Milford have its own program, right? Having 17 miles of its own shoreline. Did I say 17?
17.
Yeah. I thought I said 70 for a moment. And you'll note that we do in the CIP identify that we want to start our own marine science programs so that all kids have access to an experience such as that. And until we can get there, we believe we provide Milford Public School students with an experience in the world of aquaculture, biology, chemistry, biotech, marine construction, oceanography, navigation, seafood science, through access at Aqua. And we do believe that Trumbull needs to stay on the table because they do provide a different ag experience, large animal experience, veterinary science. Just by putting our eyeballs on the types of animals that our children can interact with at Trumbull, it would not behoove a certain population of our children if we were to remove Trumbull. The other aspect of this, and it's our responsibility to look at all lenses, is the financial aspect. We could, maybe not in the near future, but most certainly in the long term, be incurring additional costs, particularly through the form of transportation. And I also do believe in the long term, we could be open the door of why not other programs. While Trumbull offers a equine program, the Region 12 school district just opened a brand new equine facility, state of the art. And that would be parallel to what we're talking about tonight. We have Aqua, who has a part-time program, and Sound has a full-time, with newly renovated spaces for kids. Well, down the road, one could argue that the Region 12 program, even though similar to Trumbull, offers something similar but different. And so I believe that as an organization, as a system, programmatically, we're doing what's right for kids. But we also have to keep an eye on fiscally what's right for the organization, and precedent-wise, are we now opening the door to more and more out-of-district opportunities? And in light of such difficult budget years, I believe that if we're going to have any challenges budgetarily, we need to prioritize looking at what our kids need in district. And if there is such a large marine science interest, then our CIP should prioritize that in the coming years. Or our long-range facilities plan work should prioritize more career pathway facilities. And we're only talking about marine science this evening, but what about allied health? Why is marine science right now more important than our conversation on allied health when it is proven that there's a significant shortage in nursing? Why aren't we talking about the culinary program facility, where we already know that the program at Foreign, facility-wise, is significantly deficient? So we believe that it is our responsibility to treat all these opportunities as closely as equitably as possible. And that kids that want to study marine science, we can't, because there's noise around this right now, can't make that more important than other opportunities or opportunities that we offer all kids in Milford. So when we look at objectively what we're offering through an agricultural, science, technology, educational program offered by the state, we believe we are doing right by Milford kids by offering opportunities to go to Aqua and Trumbull. So our recommendation this evening is not to make any changes, that we stay with our partnership with Aqua and Trumbull. And if we're serious about marine science and other career opportunities, I just want to put those back up on the table, okay? Marine science has had a lot of our attention. then that should fold into our facility dialogue. And ask ourselves, how can we better offer more college career pathway experiences in-house for all kids? Not just for kids who know exactly what they want to do when they grow up, but kids who want to explore here. So that's our recommendation moving forward.
Thank you. Do we have questions from the board, discussion? Mr. Smith?
Yeah, question, what, do you have a sense of what it costs to educate a student at foreign or law or the academy per year?
Oh, that's our per pupil expenditure?
Yeah, yeah, which is,
It's 20-something thousand.
25, 26, I think.
Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. On slide 6, tuition costs. Can you clarify what that means? New Haven Public Schools charges the sending district with special education tuition.
Yeah, we'll answer it by,
General, obviously general, not specifics.
we'll answer it by talking about all three programs, if that's okay.
Yes.
So if you're a student that attends Aqua and you have an IEP, we provide the services. So there are no additional costs because it's built into our program costs. If you are a student that attends Trumbull Ag and you have an IEP, Trumbull handles programming for you. There are no additional costs above $39.57.
Okay.
The Sound School is not attached to a comprehensive high school. It is a school, and it provides comprehensively everything a child needs. But New Haven Public Schools has chosen to bill sending districts for IEP services, unlike the other two programs. So that's just a fact. It's not something that would be a determining factor.
Right, and so just for clarify, I mean, we've had discussions about our special education costs currently and where they are. And
Across the
there's-
state, yeah.
Across the state, there's really no way to calculate it. And you'd like to say,
You can't calculate it and you can't say
Anticipate it.
you go, you don't go. It's,
you can't anticipate any of those. I mean, we've had discussions about a single bus first, a single transportation issue that costs $300 to $500 a day. Like, we can't anticipate it.
But can I extend your question?
Yes.
And ask the question you should be asking me next. Someone could say, well, if the child has an IEP, you're paying for those services anyway, right? So, but we're not being charged a tuition.
Right.
So if we have a teacher of speech language services, let's say, that teacher has a whole caseload.
Right.
I'm not paying, it would be like a tuition bill, as opposed to I'm hiring a speech language teacher and she'll have 25 kids in her case or something. So no, it's not the same. If
Okay.
someone says, well, you're providing services anyway, costs are not
Equivalent.
comparative.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments? Ms. Preet?
On the tuition costs, we have 26, and it's 1 through 24 is 1978. So what is 26?
So those bills typically come in October, so the exact dollar figure we don't have at this moment.
Okay.
But historically, the last time that we went over that 25 threshold
Yep.
was in 22-23 school year. We had 29 students, and the cost for tuition that year was $85,288.
85,000 per student.
No,
Oh, total.
85,000 total. So
For all
Oh,
29 kids.
divided
For
by,
all 29
okay,
kids.
for all
calculator.
29 kids. So what they do is it's a per student up until that 24, and the second you
Yep.
go over to that 25th student, it's a set
Flat
fee.
rate.
Flat rate.
So,
2940.
dividing what, 29, 2940?
Yep.
Okay, so 2940, using 22, 23, I understand it's gonna change.
That assumes that the tuition for the 1 through 24 was 1978 back then, though,
That was the
right?
example.
So
Change.
at that time, yeah, the tuition was more than that, so that's really what we have to go off of, because last year we had
Right.
24 students.
Okay.
So we don't have that exact dollar amount for this year, because they capped it at the 58%, which I outlined in that slide from, I think it was slide 5.
Just in talking about that, my recollection is that several years ago, I think the state has recently committed to kicking in more money, although it's not guaranteed, it's still budget to budget, a decision made budget to budget. But I wanna, I don't know if you recall this, but if you have the figure, but several years ago, my recollection was that the tuition was closer to $7,000 for each.
That is accurate,
Yep.
yes.
So there's no guarantee it will stay at 39.
Just in this legislative session, they did guarantee it, that it's gonna stay through, I believe it's the 2027 school year.
Mhm. But not beyond
At
that.
the 58% rate,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, thank you. What's two things are standing out to me? 45 spots among 27 districts, that's incredible. And when I think of an eighth grader, 13, 14 years old, being able to overcome the hurdles and be accepted to this program, it's just awe-inspiring to me that they can get into this program. So I would like to open up the discussion of adding this as a third option, given those two. Again, we're not talking about 10, 15, 20 kids, we're talking about very limited spots. And in order to be in this program, it takes, quite a feat to get in. So I would like to open up the discussion about adding it as a third option.
Right, well, that's what we're discussing at this
Yeah.
point. I think, for me, part of it is the precedent that you set for, we've had one or two families bring this up and making a major change to add a program that we don't really know in the future what might become of it, but you're setting a precedent to just keep adding programs. And, we have had budget reductions over the past several years, and we've had to make difficult reductions to our programming. We're wanting to add new programming for our 5,100 kids here in district, and having to, put that off, having to reduce it, having to make changes. So, for me, I have a hard time saying that, we'll add to our budget to add a third program, because it is adding to our budget. However you look at it, it's additional kids, because it's additional seats. So we're talking additional seats. And I do want to also say that, the topic of how many, like Westport has come up more than once from an additional individual who claiming that there's other districts that have 3 programs. Actually, Westport does not have 3. Westport has 1. It's only the Sound School. You can look on their website. You can look on Sound School's website, Trumbull's website, Bridgeport website. None of them, the only one that shows Westport as being a participating school is Sound School. The State of Connecticut website only shows one school, the Sound School for Westport. And the reality is that out of 167 districts, 128 of them, which is the vast majority, only participate with 1. 37 participate with 2, and there's only 2 districts that participate with 3, and those are all agri-science programs. They're up north. So, the notion that a lot of schools offer more than 1, they really don't. It's the majority offer 1, and we do offer the 2. And for me, it's, we are offering a great aqua program already. So, at this point, I'm not in favor of adding a third program.
And Ms. Street, just in 4 years, it'll be possibly 8 students.
Right, so it's,
And at that point, we would have to ask ourselves, liability-wise, money-wise, safety, security, all that, is it worth putting in a bus? So it would be 8 in 4 years.
which is, today's dollars, $32,000.
Could be 8.
Right, seats, 8 seats, right?
Yeah.
So this says that, so is it, the one thing I'm not clear on is for the other additional 45 spread equitably across the 27 districts. So like with Trumbull tells us you have X number of seats. And so they're looking at all the kids that apply, and they're allocating us, they're choosing, 6 per grade. They're choosing 6 out of all that apply, they're choosing the 6. So is it similar with Sound School that if we have 2 seats, they will take all the Milford kids that apply and choose 2 of them? Or is it the 45 seats are, the 27 other districts are all lumped together, and all those kids compete for,
Yeah, the language that we received was it's exactly outlined in the slide for the remaining 45 are spread equitably across the 27 other districts, so,
He led us to believe it was like 1 or 2.
yeah.
okay,
It wouldn't be 0 in certain days. It would
right,
be
okay,
years.
all right. So, and that's 1 or 2 per year, so as you said, it could be up to 8.
Yeah.
After the course of the 4 years. So that is an addition to our budget. I mean, I don't know how else to explain that, is that you are adding to the budget because you have to budget for the number of seats that you might have.
This would be in addition to our budget.
Correct, right. Others? Mr. Smith?
Yeah, thank you. I do appreciate the discussion, and I appreciate the work that's gone into the presentations and conversations over the last few months. And I most appreciate the opportunities I've had to visit that facility and hearing from the parents, both who have a student there as well as from the parents in our audience today and other days where they're here talking about what public education they want and their child wants to seize. And I think that if we're talking about the dollars, we can have different conversations similar to how, I view it similar to lawyers, right? Where it's that age-old adage where you get 3 lawyers in a room, you get 5 different opinions. It sounds like we're having that same conversation about math as not an accountant. I mean, I see the tuition at under $4,000 per student, and knowing that the tuition at high school is $24,000 to $26,000 a year. It's a question if it's an addition or a cost savings. We can have that debate, but I don't think what is debatable so much is that we do offer great opportunities for students in our schools at aquaculture and at Trumbull VOAG, but I would be hard pressed to be convinced that you have the same opportunities at a full day program as you do as a half day program. I mean, I've done many different jobs over my life, and even just understanding the difference between a part-time job and a full-time job, there's significant different levels of exposure. And I'm impressed with the facilities of the folks, the place I've seen, especially the Sound School, seen in person. I do think it is important for us to continue to work towards having physical brick and mortars in our community. But one of the things we've learned through our long-term facility program is that it costs about $1,000 a square foot to build out a facility. And if you're looking at the Sound School, which has about 6,500 square feet, it's $65 million to be comparable to that. And that would also require half a decade probably of lead time and build out, and you miss an entire cohort. And we see folks who are wanting to do this now. And I find it hard to not have this conversation, and I appreciate the conversation and the statement that Ms. Preet mentioned, and so I don't know how it will go, especially seeing the recommendation in front of us, but I would like to motion that we add the Sound School as a third option for students in Milford to pursue their education.
So first we have to, there's no action item on this agenda. So we would have to add, make a motion to add an agenda item to have a vote on this, which would need a 2/3 majority, so that would be 5 people would have to say, yes, let's add it to the agenda. And then we'd have to actually make a motion to make a change. I just want to point out one thing when you said, versus a half a day versus a full day. I think the point you might be missing is that the kids, even in the full day program, they still need to take their core subjects. So they're not spending a full day on marine science. They are still taking their core subjects, whether they're doing it at Sound School or whether they're doing it here in Milford and then going to the opera program. So it's really not, it's kind of apples and oranges to say one's a half day, one's a full day, because there's still that requirement that they have their core subjects.
They still have to fulfill the state requirements for graduation.
Right, so, but if you want to make a motion to add an agenda item to vote on this, you're free to do that.
Tracy has a question.
Before he does that, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
For any of these schools, as we do long-range planning, what does it take to get out of the contract that was mentioned before? What does it take to leave one of those programs?
We would
Or is
have
it
to give
just a
a
matter of
notification.
timing?
We'd have to give a notification. But we'd still have to maintain a relationship with one, minimum.
We still have to
I
have
think,
one.
yeah, I think what we talked about in April was that the state would strongly encourage us to phase out. So, and I would agree with that. So you can say we're not gonna send any more kids, but you can't undo, you can't pull out the rug from underneath the kids that are already there. So it would be a phasing out one in order to phase in the other. So I think the comment that they made at the state when we discussed it.
Yes.
Yeah, and this hasn't been stated out loud, but I feel like it's in the air. The aqua school's really good.
Mhm.
I know a lot of kids that love it.
So I'm not sure why one is being, it feels like one is being touted as better. We went to, that hence going to visit, and we were impressed. There were young people building their own boat. They were leaving high school with their own boat that they built. There were young people, underclassmen, the younger kids, building their own,
Paddleboard.
thank you, paddleboard, and designing them and building. And they have, like the other two programs, dual enrollment courses. Like, it's a really good program. And it's right there on the water. They have access to a marina. I won't repeat everything that Steve said. So there's already an opportunity. We already offer. I'm just not sure why it's not enough.
That's my
Why do you
point,
have to
yeah.
have another
Is that we have the one.
same opportunity?
Yeah.
It's like us saying, we want Trumbull and Region, Nanawag. We want Trumbull and Region 12. And we want Trumbull and Wallingford. Let's bring it closer to regional, right? Trumbull and Wallingford are very much the same. So why would you offer two similar?
That's kind of where I'm coming from, is that we already offer an aqua program for kids to choose. And adding the third comes with a whole bunch of unknowns that have been talked about tonight that make me very nervous. The tuition, the billable, billable for services is one, could be a huge dollar figure depending on what might, come of it.
Sorry.
There's just a lot of unknowns, and that would add to the budget, so.
And as a person who does the primary presenting to our town bodies on money, along with Ms. Glennon, I can already predict the question. In a year that you took a huge cut, you added a program. And remember, I went into the 25-26 school year with your support, adding no new programming for all Milford Public School kids. There's nothing new for MPS kids. I can already hear the question or the criticism, or fill in the blank, worse, of we added programming in July. On the
Although we're not adding
heels.
we're not adding for this current year, so that's, I think, important to state. We're
Well,
talking
I
about,
don't know
relative-
what is your motion?
well, that's true, we haven't made a motion yet. so-
Because hanging in the wind is a child who's been accepted,
Correct.
right?
Okay,
Wind, not
I'll
wind,
take that
sorry.
back.
So
Right.
I just want to put out that very difficult fact, that there may be town bodies asking us about this decision.
And we
And
have,
my recommendation to this board is to make no changes.
I call for a 5-minute recess.
sure. Anybody opposed to a 5-minute recess?
Do you want a space, Ms. Preet?
Yeah, sure.
8:37. All right, so Mr., I don't know that you actually made the motion, so Mr. Smith wanted to make a motion to add an action item to the agenda.
Yes, make a motion to add the action item to add the sound school as a third option for students.
So right now, we're just adding the agenda item to take
Okay.
action.
Okay, sorry.
So we're moving to take, to add an agenda item to take action. So that needs a two-thirds majority. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously to add the action item.
Do we need to second that?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, second.
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 Lauren's not here to help me out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, so Mr. Smith, you have an actual motion?
Yeah, motion that the sound school be added to the vocational agri-science options for Milford Public School students.
Second that.
Can you amend that to indicate a use, effective when?
Yeah, I guess effective the next school year,
Which would be what?
starting in August of 2025.
So this coming school year?
Correct, sorry.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
All right, so now we have discussion on that. Would you like to discuss first, since you made the motion,
Sure,
Mr.
yeah.
Smith?
Including what has already been said today by myself, and I don't want to force anyone to listen to me more than they have to endure my comments. I do think it is a very, I do think there's a difference between a full day and a half day program, and in increasingly what we're seeing across the country and society with the rapid acceleration of artificial intelligence and the increasing question, I think, that is posed to every individual who works in a profession that does not have hard skills, myself included, that I do think we should do everything we can to provide our students opportunities that acquire vocational technical skills, that provide them career opportunities that have a very low risk of ever being replaced by robots. And I do think that, or AI, or whatever you want to call it. And I think that the Sound School is a pretty impressive facility. The teachers and the teachers and staff, and we've heard from parents, I think would provide a nice complement to what we currently offer, and hopefully what we can continue to offer and build out as we work to build out our own offerings in town.
Ms. Doyle?
I am a no on this conversation. I think we have come to this position in a manner that is outside the normal bounds. That first, to take that, is that this is a conversation that should have started at the administrative level, not a board level, because you are the experts as the administrators. I am not the expert. So from that standpoint, I have that issue. Next, cost. This is such an unknown cost to us, and we have many headwinds that we are facing. First, we have had budget cuts consecutively through multiple years that we then need to make decisions about what programs are we cutting, what decisions are we cutting. And we are talking about programs that are $65,000, which allows us to impact an entire grade level, which is huge and important to us, and we are building on programs long-term. And here we have, with the Sound School specifically, as of right now, we are going to be reimbursed at a certain rate that is not long-term, that is at this moment, and there are major costs associated with that are coming from the federal government not supplying money to the state level. So there's nothing guaranteeing that in 2027, we are not going to be paying $7,000 per student to go, in addition to any IEP or special education funds, which we know are extraordinarily expensive. So while it appears that we may be making a decision that 1 or 2 students that would be able to go to a school per year will only cost the city of Milford $4,000. It's not $4,000. I can't guarantee, none of us have crystal balls on what that's going to go from here. And we are under extreme pressure when I have a conversation earlier today that we may lose another $1.3 million from next year's budget. And we're turning around and we're gonna cut programs across the district. So for us to add a new program, I think is a incredibly poor-sighted decision. I appreciate Mr. Smith's enthusiasm and advocacy for the parents and the students, and especially the parents' advocacy for fighting for their children. I know how important that is. We do have a great opportunity in aquaculture, and I think that's where we need to be going from there. And I think we've demonstrated over the year that short, long-term investment of small amounts of money lead to large impacts. We see that with the music program, we see that with the language program, and all of these things. So to add an additional program where our costs could spiral, that we're easily talking $100,000, $150,000 if we have 8 students in 4 years. We don't know what that cost is. That's equivalent to 2 teachers that we literally just cut from our budget. So it's hard to say, let's move students out of the district, and we are going to there. To the last point about how much it costs to educate a child in Milford, those are costs that are never going away. That's why we're engaging in this long-term facility, to understand where we can find efficiencies, where we are able to go from there. Dr. Kataya literally said we have 1.1 million square feet that we need to manage. Those need to be managed regardless of what happens. And so we have a lot of fixed costs. I don't think adding an additional fixed cost is there. And when we have an opportunity like the aquaculture, that's where I think we need to go from there. And I think we've had discussions about transferring from not having Trumbull and replacing that. I don't think it makes sense to have 2 aquaculture programs at the end of the day, after having heard from people who are on the ground looking at the programs and their equivalency and what does it give us from a programming aspect.
Other board member comments? Mr. Fermenter, do you have something to say? You look like you're getting ready.
Yes. I agree with Mr. Smith. I think it's important that we have this opportunity for school choice for this, even if it's this year, 1 student. So we're talking $2,500, something like that, for the year. His mother has already said she's willing to drive him, so we don't have to worry about a bus. You know, she's willing, or take the train, whatever, she, you know, she'll put him on the train, she'll do whatever she wants. Again, 1 student with a choice to do something that he really, really wants to do. Why are we not advocating for all of our students, or even just this 1 student? I think that it would be the costs that are being put out by Ms. Doyle. Those are potential, those are down the road, and again, we can't know what those are gonna be. I think we really need to leave this open as a 3rd option for any 1 or up to 8, whatever it is, students over the next, you know, however many can get in. We may not even get 2 students per year. We may only get 1, or we may not even get accepted. It's, I think we need to advocate for all children and whatever they want to further their education. Not everybody's going to college. You know, a VOAG, you know, that's great. Absolutely. I support that. That's all I want to say.
Anybody else? I will say I'm not at this point in favor of adding a 3rd option. I think, you know, we are spending between, on the average last 2 years, $350,000 are budgeted for tuition and transportation for the 2 programs that we have. That's a considerable amount of money. Once we make the commitment, it's not easy to get out of. So even if it's, I mean, we know it's $4,000 right now per child, plus $450 for the train. We are required to provide transportation, so that's part of it. So even, and for me, I'm looking at the needs of the full district. We don't, as a board, we don't make decisions for individual kids. We make decisions for the district as a whole. And we already have a similar program. I mean, I don't dispute what anybody has said. It sounds like a great program, but we already have another great aquaculture program. And so it is duplicative, and it will add to our budget. So I'm just not in favor of doing that at this point. So with that, I'll call for a vote on the motion to add the Sound School as a third option for the 25-26 school year. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No. Roll call, please.
All right, Megan Doyle,
No.
Scott Vermender.
Yes.
Tracy Irby,
No.
Tom Koba,
No.
Christina Crete,
Yes.
Mike Smith,
Yes.
and Susan Glennon.
No.
Okay. 4 voted no, 3 voted yes.
Okay, so the motion fails. All right. Thank you, everyone. Move on to the next agenda item.
Thank you, Ms. Glennon. We are going to move to the next two items. That includes proposed 24-25 final budget transfers and final quarterly budget report. Mr. Brennan would handle both.
Thank you, Dr. Kataya, Ms. Glennon, members of the board. So these next two agenda items will dovetail into each other, but I'm going to start this evening with the transfers. So in your package, you'll find a set of the final budget transfers for the 24-25 school year. I'd like to make mention at on the onset of this, that this amount does not represent excess funds that we had at the end of the year. These are funds that were intentionally set aside as we were going throughout the year and looking at our rising special ed tuition and transportation costs and other related student need costs. So this amount here represents a total of $615,135 that are being transferred from these various accounts at the top, and they will be transferred to these various accounts at the bottom. I will take you through each one of these individually. Our first account here was our Social Security account, 2004, for a total of $79,162. These savings are attributed to savings in the salary accounts. So as you may have noticed in the last report, there were some savings in salary reports for unfilled positions. Those correlate to savings with the Social Security Medicare tax. As a result of not paying those salaries, we had savings with the Medicare tax that we would have had to pay for those. This next one here, the over 65 account 2006 for a total of $87,321. This was a result of a carrier change to manage this population, as well as a decrease in retiree supplemental reimbursements. The next account, contracted services, 3306 for a total of $177,262. This was this was a strategic freeze as a result of some of the unanticipated costs that we had in some of our other student-related accounts. Fuel for buses for a savings of $131,245. They are attributed to lower than average fuel prices, both in gasoline and diesel. And the final one in this account is professional learning, account 8111, for a total of $140,146. Once again, these were due to anticipated shortfalls. We had frozen some accounts to make sure that we had a balanced budget at the end of the year. The total transfer from results in $615,135, and that amount will be transferred to the following 5 accounts. Homebound tutors, account 1112. So this one covers the shortfalls attributed to greater than expected number of students within the district requiring support outside the traditional school setting, and that amount was $12,419. These next two here, buildings projects and grounds projects, which I'd like to remind the board that a majority of these projects would occur over the summertime when students in school is not in session. So building projects for a total of $290,752, and grounds projects for a total of $195,000. This next one is the building rental expense. As the board is aware, we are currently looking at our inventory and looking for a long-term solution with that. As a result of needing to still plan for that, we have to transfer the cost of this rental warehouse for $51,449 in order to house our inventory while we are looking for that long-term plan. And the final item on here is capital equipment, the purchase of a utility work truck for the facilities department. As the board is aware, these trucks are vital to keeping our operation moving forward, especially on days where there's inclement weather, and being down a work truck could severely impact our actual operation. So this was a purchase of an actual utility work truck for a total amount of $69,516. And that total matches up with the transfer from of $615,135 in the transfer to item. At this time, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
We take a motion first to make this transfer. Let's see. Ms. Preet, do you want to make the motion? It's at the bottom there.
The
Recommendation, yep.
Recommendation that the Milford Board of Education approves the administration's recommended 24-25 final budget transferred as presented.
Second.
Second by Mr. Fermender. Is there any discussion? Mr. Smith?
Just a quick one, on the capital equipment, the utility work truck for $65,000, is it new or used purchase?
A new purchase.
So it's a new vehicle?
It's a new vehicle.
Yeah, going through, assuming it's through some bid or contracted rate or something like that?
Yeah, Mr. Bradbury works on the direction of those pieces, but yes.
Awesome, thank you.
Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. Under contracted services, if you had not frozen an account, what would have been covered?
So things in that account could be things of like file scanning. We actually were lucky this year because we had a very mild winter, so snow removal services is another item in there that Mr. Bradbury budgets for. So there's two aspects to snow removal services that we really deal with. Some of the things our own internal staff can handle, but for some of the larger areas, we do contract out. So we were actually lucky to have a mild winter for that.
Okay.
Other things would be like classroom abatements. So holding off on classroom abatements, which also come with packing up the classroom. So there's some moving services along with those, holding off on some of those abatements, things of that nature.
And just to clarify, the abatement, it's still safe in those rooms, even if we are not doing the abatement?
Yes, yes. And if it becomes
An issue,
unsafe, then
I want it to be incredibly clear, this is, the overages are not real overages, that there were freezes on accounts and there would have been spending in these accounts if these were not frozen. And that the budgeting was not a misalignment or wrong in over there. So I want to make clear that, because you're not going to know how much the fuel for buses is. Like, we have to anticipate it's going to be bad, and that's what
Overages is probably not the right word either.
Right.
You know, we took strategic steps
Right.
early on in the year because we were forecasting overages in accounts of spending.
Right.
So it was fiscal responsibility that allow us to rein some things in. So I think this is all about the vocabulary we're using tonight.
Right. It's, we didn't find $650,000. We strategically made sure that we did not run out of money.
correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Fermender?
I just have a couple of, the professional learning 8111, those professional development for the teachers, that was frozen. Did that in any way hinder their necessary continued education that they might be required to have throughout the years?
We just take a look at the contracts and determine if we can pull back a number of days that we would have as part of a contract.
Okay.
And then we think strategically about the time that we are using for professional learning, how we're structuring that time to
Okay.
make sure we still accomplish our initiatives.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And my other question is, the very top line item, the $79,162 of Social Security costs. So we were able to find $1,035,000 in wages that we were not required to pay. That was originally thought to have been payable.
So I don't have
How
the,
did you come up with that figure?
7.65% is your FICA and Medicare rate, divided through by the 79 comes to $1,035,000.
That might not be specifically what
Well,
that
again,
line
it says
covers.
Social Security. I'm assuming it's just Social Security.
Yeah, and it's participation in that program as well as the Medicare portion of the FICA tax.
Right, FICA and Medicare,
Yep.
so it's 7.65%. So it's $1,035,000 and change.
Across all of our salary
All the
accounts?
school, right, all the schools, all the salaries, everything. I mean, that's just,
Yeah, I
We
don't
didn't have that
the-
much savings, I mean, because we would have already transferred that money
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, we would have already transferred that, so I don't believe
Can you
that
look
that's
into that,
the
please?
total
But
amount.
isn't Social Security, isn't that paid, do teachers get Social Security? I
No,
thought they were
they don't.
exempt from Social
No.
Security, so it's non-social
so
security.
non-teachers, it could
Right.
be
Yeah.
Paraprofessional.
paraprofessionals, other maintenance staff.
Can you clarify that for us?
Yeah, I could look into that for you.
Any other questions? I just want to underscore on the buildings and grounds projects, so, in the past, we have intentionally, the last few years, because of our long-range planning work, if I'm not mistaken, we've intentionally held back on buildings and grounds projects, so, just to underscore that using, whatever, monies that we can at the end of the year, this is typically how we have been forced to fund our buildings and grounds work. There's millions of dollars worth of work that is in the wings to be done. You prioritize what
Yes.
needs to be done.
Absolutely.
And I think this is kind of a, I don't know, it's a meager amount of money considering the needs that we have. So I appreciate that at least some of this money is going towards getting some additional buildings and grounds work done. Anything else from anybody? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
So our next report here is our quarterly budget report. This is our final one for the year. As you will see, the available balance in each one of these accounts currently is zero, outside of our final one, which I will discuss in a moment. There's a couple quick things that I wanted to call to your attention here. You might see something in account 5102 and 5600, tuition special ed public, and the tuition, the transportation special ed public. You'll see a negative expenditure in that count. The reason for that is when the excess cost comes back, the money that we get reimbursed came in Q4. So even though it looks like it's a negative expenditure in that quarter, it was just because of the money that we were reimbursed outweighs the amount that we spent in that quarter, but still less than what we had spent across the whole year. That was something I wanted to mention. And then another piece of that as well is this final line item here, 8999, is the transfer to the non-lapsing account. So as you will see, it's $250,000 that we set aside for the long-range planning. That's currently still there as the available balance. So the way that we were working with the city on this one is to leave that amount in the account, and then on July 1, they will take that amount and transfer it to the non-lapsing account for the city. So that's why currently it says percent used 99.77, but as of now, that money will be transferred, and we are at 100% and ended the year with a balanced budget.
That's because this account takes us through June 30th, right?
Correct.
This report. Any questions on the final disbursement report for the fiscal year? Mr. Koba?
Yeah, 3305, security services, there's a negative number there too. What was that?
Yeah, so 3305, that negative number was because we got reimbursed for a security
Same,
grant.
okay,
Similar thing,
okay,
yeah, so,
gotcha, all right.
There may be a grant reimbursement,
Okay.
it's depending on when these reimbursements come in, and then it may look like a negative
Yeah,
expenditure,
just
but.
because it was bigger than you spent.
Exactly, for
So
that
it's
quarter.
timing?
For that quarter, it's a timing issue, it's not.
So you get it in a lump sum at the end, and it washes out.
Exactly, so those are just timing issues.
Thank you. Any other questions on this report? All right, thank you, Mr. Brennan.
And the final report I have for you this evening is our regular disbursement report. So in your package, you'll find a list of all the cash disbursements for June 2025 over the amount of $1,500. At this time, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Other questions for Mr. Brennan on the, Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. Just a quick, easy one. Cheshire Fitness Zone LLC, about a third of the way down on the first page. 12,525. Special education, SLP services, and SLP coverage for maternity leave. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm just finding that those are special ed services, so they would contract with Cheshire Fitness Academy, I believe you said it was?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to find.
How far down was that?
About a third of the way down.
What page?
First page.
Top of the page?
Oh, I see it.
22, 55, 62. Or 24, 55, 62.
That disbursement's on there pretty regularly.
Yeah, so
Special ed services.
special ed services, so it also says that it's a coverage for maternity leave there, so, you know, if there's a speech and language individual who is out on maternity leave, those services still need to be provided by the IEP, and as a result, those are not always easy to find, so they may contract, special ed department may contract with a company such as Cheshire Fitness Zone
Okay.
to cover those services.
So it would be in addition to our regular, like, because we're replacing someone, so.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions on the disbursement report? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you.
And I'll be taking the talent management development report this evening in Mr. Capazza's absence. The report before you outlines job postings, personal recommendations, retirements, resignations, terminations, and stipend appointments. To date, we have 14 teacher retirements. 2 of those notifications came in after the last day of school. In the world of teacher recalls, due to 2 recent resignations, we were able to recall 2 English language arts teachers who were previously laid off at the end of the year. And in the world of hiring, 12 teachers have been hired so far, with 3 of these 12 accepting Friday and even today. So happy to take any questions that I might be able to answer for you.
Questions on the TMD report? Ms. Preet?
So we had 9 layoffs in the last report, 1 layoff here with the line of the secretarial. So that's 10 total, but now it's back down to 8 because of the 2 recalls. Does that make sense?
Based that, sensing that your math is correct, I don't have last month's report.
It was 9, yep, total.
So whatever you're adding minus the 2 that we were able to recall.
Okay, gotcha, thank you.
So I may be recalling incorrectly, but I had thought for the secretaries that there was a retirement and a resignation so that there wouldn't be an actual layoff. Can you verify that?
There was a retirement.
I thought one was a retirement and one was a resignation, decided
Somebody
to resign.
resigned, she decided to leave.
So can you
I could double
check
check.
on that? 'Cause that says, it does say layoff.
Does it say
and I-
layoff?
Yeah. On the report.
What's the school?
I was also wondering about, there's 2 early start positions on here. So I'm guessing that those relate to the new Connecticut framework for early childhood,
Correct.
which is
That's
called
the
Early Start.
That's the new local governance partnership, so the current individual who serves in the liaison role now has retired. So we're looking for the person to fulfill the liaison, program liaison, and we also have a parent ambassador who will work with families to plan family events as part of the
So is that
programs.
something new according to legislation, or
Yes.
is that something we've had all along and we're just?
No, so we've always had the liaison as part of the
Right, that
school
I-
readiness.
Uh-huh,
The parent ambassador is a new position that's required with the legislation.
okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Ms. Doyle?
I don't think I've seen before this job coach slash PGTA paraprofessional. Can you discuss that?
No.
You got her all choked up.
I'm also reading Wendy's text, she's homesick. I think watching the show, meeting, I mean. So she did choose to resign, but according to Wendy, we're still considering it a layoff.
Okay,
And it is that person that you are
I
identifying.
got it, okay.
Sorry, Ms. Doyle, can you repeat your question?
Sure. There's a listing for a job coach, PGTA, paraprofessional in Parsons Complex. I can't remember what that's related to.
So this individual goes out with our 18, 22-year-olds into job positions, and they do a little bit of work here on site at Parsons about preparing for their role, and that's on a daily basis, not just, and then they actually accompany some students out in the workforce and provide support. So there was a vacancy and we filled that.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Fermender?
I just wanted to get a feeling for, with the resignations, terminations, and the personnel recommendations here, where does that leave us going into the next year, next school year, as far as how many teachers are we still looking to fill? How many physicians? Do you know? Are we on track where we usually are?
We are on track.
Okay.
It is still early in the summer.
All
Lots of principals are conducting interviews currently. Our most difficult to find positions, as you can imagine, are special ed teachers. And we're still looking for an American Sign Language teacher. And the job postings are there in front of you.
Yep, no, absolutely.
So we feel like we're on track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We don't worry until the night
End of
before.
August.
Yeah.
The 24th?
It really does come together.
Okay.
Other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, and that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda items. Can we get a motion for consideration of these minutes?
Make a motion that we approve the minutes for consideration for the June 9th, 2025 business meeting and June 23rd, 2025 special meeting of Board of Education.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Board comment? Anybody wish to make board comment this evening? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 9:09.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Preet seconds. Are there anybody opposed to adjourning at 9:09? And we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, it's been-